The 1980s made lots of movies about time travel, but they were really bad. Some had big budgets, but nobody wanted to watch them. Others had cool ideas, but made them boring. Let's see why these movies were such big failures. Time After Time, 1979. This movie had a really cool idea. H.G. Wells, the famous writer, chases Jack the Ripper through time to 1979 San Francisco. Wells uses his own time machine to catch the killer. It sounds exciting, right? But the movie couldn't decide what it wanted to be. The film tried to be a romance, a thriller, and a comedy all at once. Malcolm McDowell played Wells as a confused time traveler. Mary Steenburgen was his love interest. The movie spent too much time on their romance. It forgot about the exciting chase story. Director Nicholas Meyer wanted to make something special. He thought mixing genres would be clever. Instead, it just confused audiences. People didn't know if they should laugh or be scared. The marketing didn't help either. Posters made it look like a silly comedy. The movie cost a lot of money to make. It had elaborate Victorian sets and modern San Francisco locations. The special effects for the time machine were expensive, but hardly anyone went to see it. It flopped badly at the box office. Critics were confused too. Some liked the romantic parts. Others wanted more action. Most agreed the movie didn't work. It tried to do too many things at once. The time travel plot got lost in all the romance. Time After Time did influence later movies. Films like Somewhere in Time borrowed its romantic time travel idea. But most people forgot about it quickly. It showed that good concepts need good execution. Even Malcolm McDowell's charm couldn't save a confused script. The movie had one big problem. It took itself too seriously for a silly premise. A comedy about a writer chasing a killer through time could have worked. But the serious tone made everything feel weird and uncomfortable.
My God.
The Final Countdown, 1980. This movie had the coolest setup ever. A modern Navy aircraft carrier gets caught in a weird storm. It travels back in time to December 6th, 1941. That's one day before Pearl Harbor was attacked. The crew has to decide what to do with their knowledge of history. Should they warn everyone about the attack? Should they use their modern weapons to stop it? The movie asks these big questions. Then it completely wastes them. The whole film builds up to this huge decision. But then nothing happens. The Navy gave the filmmakers real access to the USS Nimitz. They got to film real fighter jets and helicopters. The aircraft carrier scenes look amazing. You can see millions of dollars worth of military equipment. The production team spent months shooting on the actual ship. But all that expensive cooperation was wasted on a boring story. Kirk Douglas plays the ship's captain. He's a good actor, but even he can't save the script. Martin Sheen plays a civilian observer who gets caught up in the time travel. The movie spends 2 hours building tension. Then it cops out at the end. The ship gets pulled back to modern times before anything important happens. Audiences felt completely cheated. They came to see a time travel adventure. Instead, they got a lot of talking and no action. The movie promises a huge battle between modern weapons and World War II planes, but it never delivers. The climax is just people standing around making speeches about paradoxes and changing history. The Final Countdown made some money because of the cool Navy scenes, but critics hated it. They called it all set up and no payoff. The movie taught Hollywood an important lesson. Cool concepts mean nothing without good endings. What's your favorite failed time travel movie? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe for more forgotten cinema disasters.
Man, am I glad to see you. Where the hell am I?
Time Rider, The Adventure of Lyle. Swan, 1982. This movie tried to copy Back to the Future before Back to the Future existed. A motocross racer named Lyle Swan gets caught in a time travel experiment. He ends up in 1877 with his dirt bike. Now he has to survive in the Old West with modern technology. The concept could have been fun, but everything went wrong. Fred Ward played Lyle Swan. He's usually a good actor, but this script gave him nothing to work with. His character has no personality. He just rides around looking confused. The supporting actors are even worse. Most of them sound like they're reading their lines for the first time. The dialogue is terrible throughout. The special effects look cheap and fake. The time travel sequence uses bargain basement lightning effects. The motorcycle stunts are boring and poorly filmed. Even the gunfights feel slow and clunky. Everything looks like it was made for television, not movie theaters. The Old West sets look like leftover Western TV show locations. The movie's timeline makes no sense whatsoever. Lyle keeps running into the same people over and over. The plot goes in circles without any clear direction. Characters disappear and reappear randomly. It feels like they made up the story as they went along. There's also a bizarre subplot about Lyle accidentally becoming his own ancestor. Time Rider was made by an independent company on a tiny budget. They thought they could make a hit on a shoestring. But good time travel movies need money for effects and locations. This one looks like it was shot in someone's backyard with amateur actors. The movie did find a small cult following years later. Some people love it because it's so bad it's funny. The terrible dialogue and cheap effects became entertaining for the wrong reasons.
Louise, what happened?
Millennium, 1989. This movie had one of the most complicated time travel plots ever filmed. People from a dying future steal passengers from plane crashes. They replace them with fake bodies right before the crashes happen. The real people get taken to the future to help rebuild civilization. It sounds interesting, but the execution was a disaster. Chris Christopherson plays an investigator looking into these mysterious crashes. Cheryl Ladd is a time traveler from the future. The plot involves multiple timelines, paradoxes, and confusing explanations. Most audiences got lost after the first 20 minutes. The movie keeps jumping between time periods without clear transitions. The movie was based on a short story by John Varley. The story worked because readers could reread confusing parts. But movies don't give you that chance. Complex plots need clear explanation. Millennium just throws information at you and hopes you keep up. The dialogue is full of technobabble that makes no sense. The special effects looked outdated even in 1989. The future world scenes use cheap sets and costumes that look like they came from a low-budget TV show. The time travel effects are just swirling lights and fog. Everything looks fake and unconvincing. Cheryl Ladd tries her best as the time traveler, but her character speaks in confusing technobabble throughout the film. She has to explain complicated plot points while running around in silly future costumes. Even good actors would struggle with this terrible dialogue. The movie's biggest problem is pacing. It spends too much time on boring investigation scenes. Then, it dumps all the time travel explanation in one confusing sequence. The balance is completely wrong. By the time you understand what's happening, you don't care anymore about any of the characters. The Philadelphia Experiment, 1984. This movie was based on a real conspiracy theory. In 1943, the Navy supposedly made a destroyer invisible during secret experiments. Two sailors get accidentally transported to 1984. They have to find a way back to their own time while avoiding government agents. The concept had real potential. A fish out of water story with time travel and government conspiracies? That could have been exciting, but the low budget killed any chance of success. The movie looks cheap in every single frame. The special effects are laughably bad, even for 1984 standards. Michael Pare and Bobby DiCicco play the time-displaced sailors. They're decent actors, but the script gives them nothing interesting to do. Most of the movie involves them wandering around modern America, looking confused. The romance subplot between Pare and Nancy Allen feels forced and slows down the already sluggish pacing. The government conspiracy elements never make sense. Evil agents chase our heroes, but their motivations are unclear. The scientific explanation for the time travel is complete nonsense. The movie throws around terms like electromagnetic field without understanding what they mean. The Philadelphia experiment was made by an independent production company. They clearly didn't have enough money to realize their ambitious concept. The 1940s flashback scenes look like community theater productions. The modern-day scenes aren't much better. Everything feels rushed and underfunded. Despite its flaws, the movie spawned several sequels and TV movies. None of them were any good either. The original film tapped into real conspiracy theory interest, but couldn't deliver on its promises. It showed that interesting premises need proper execution and adequate budgets to work. The movie's biggest failure was wasting a genuinely intriguing concept on a boring, low-budget production. Time Walker, 1982. This movie barely counts as time travel science fiction. An ancient Egyptian mummy gets revived by X-ray radiation at a university. Then, it goes on a killing spree to recover stolen artifacts. The time travel element is just that the mummy comes from ancient times. That's it. The plot makes no sense whatsoever. College students accidentally irradiate a mummy during X-ray experiments. The mummy comes to life and starts killing people, but instead of being a traditional monster movie, it tries to be science fiction. The explanation involves aliens and ancient astronauts, but none of it is convincing. Ben Murphy plays a professor investigating the murders. He's a decent TV actor, but this material is beneath everyone involved. The college students are all terrible actors who deliver their lines like they're reading them for the first time. The dialogue is painfully awkward throughout. The special effects are embarrassingly cheap. The mummy costume looks like something from a Halloween store. The alien technology is just random blinking lights. The murder scenes aren't scary or exciting. They're just boring and poorly filmed. Time Walker was clearly a quick cash grab designed to fool audiences. The poster and marketing made it look like a serious science fiction film. In reality, it's just a bad monster movie with science fiction elements randomly thrown in. The plot holes are enormous, and the pacing is terrible. Flight of the Navigator, 1986. Disney tried to make a serious science fiction film for families. A 12-year-old boy gets abducted by aliens in 1978. He returns 8 years later without aging a day. His family has grown older, but he's still the same age. Now he has to adjust to a world that moved on without him. The concept was genuinely interesting. How would a child handle returning to find his little brother is now older than him? The emotional possibilities were rich, but Disney couldn't decide if they wanted to make a kid's adventure or a serious drama about loss and time. Joey Kramer plays David, the time-displaced boy. He does a good job with difficult material. The scenes where he meets his aged family are genuinely touching, but then the movie shifts into silly comedy with a wise-cracking alien spaceship. The tonal shifts are jarring and confusing. The special effects were impressive for 1986. The alien spaceship looks sleek and convincing. The flying sequences are well done. Disney spent real money on the production values. But good effects can't save a confused script that doesn't know its target audience. The movie was too scary for young children, but too childish for teenagers. Parents didn't know what to make of it either. The marketing campaign couldn't figure out how to sell it. Was it a family comedy or a serious science fiction drama? The confusion showed in the box office results. My Science Project, 1985. High school student Michael Harlan needs a science project to graduate. He finds a mysterious glowing device in a military junkyard. The device turns out to be alien technology that can open portals through time. Soon, dinosaurs, cavemen, and futuristic robots are running around the school. This movie was a desperate attempt to copy Back to the Future's success, but it missed everything that made that film work. The characters are one-dimensional stereotypes. The plot makes no logical sense. The special effects look cheap and unconvincing throughout. John Stockwell plays Michael, the slacker student who discovers the device. He's not a particularly likable or interesting protagonist. His friends are typical 80s movie teenagers. The nerd, the tough guy, the pretty girl. None of them have real personalities or believable relationships. The time portal effects bring various historical periods into the present, but instead of being exciting, these sequences are chaotic and boring. Dinosaurs attack students, but there's no real danger or suspense. Medieval knights fight futuristic soldiers, but the battles are poorly choreographed. Director Jonathan Betuel clearly had no idea how to handle the complex time travel elements. The movie jumps from comedy to action to drama without any smooth transitions. The tone is all over the place. Nothing feels connected or purposeful. My science project bombed at the box office and was quickly forgotten. It showed that copying successful films requires understanding what made them work in the first place. Just adding time travel and teenagers isn't enough to make a good movie. These failed time travel movies had great ideas but terrible execution. Bad scripts, cheap effects, and confused plots taught Hollywood valuable lessons. Sometimes failures are more educational than successes. Subscribe for more forgotten film disasters.